afternoon, YouTubers. Got some smashing metal carnage for you this time around. This is a car baler. You can see the arm here, and has a grab on the end of it, picks up the car. This is a large chamber which is currently closed. The lid on top here is the part that squashes the car, and then there's a big block at the end on a ram that pushes the car down the end and turns it into a cube. So yeah, I'll show you it in operation. But anyway, the lid is completely destroyed. This corner here has been a massive failure around the hinge. You see the hinge point here, and this hinge is absolutely enormous. The hydraulic rams that act on these hinges are also enormous, so everything is obviously under massive force. Obviously, to turn a car into a cube, you need as much force as you can get. In fact, this machine probably will squash 2, maybe 3 cars at a time, I'm not quite sure, and turn them into a cube. So probably hundreds of tons of force in order to do that. So yeah, this end has spectacularly failed. There's been a repair before which has went completely south, so I'm going to dissect it and look at the structure internally, consider the forces that are acting on it by those huge rams, and then plate it up and strengthen it accordingly. So obviously it's lost all original structural integrity, so repairing it back to the original shape isn't good enough in my eyes. I always like to add strength and make it stronger than it was before, if economically and time feasibly. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to beef this right up. So yeah guys, first few steps will be to light the burners and cut some of this scrap off and have a little look inside and see exactly what we're faced with. So yeah, let's get under it. So just wanted to share this awesome cutout sent to me by the Artful Badger. Check out his Instagram. You'll see his art projects, and I say art because this entire piece is hand drawn, bespoke creation that he makes from high resolution images. So if you send him something you would like made into a hand drawn cutout like this, get in touch with Artful Badger on Instagram, and he goes under the name of Badger Welding 67. So massive thanks for that there. Just want to give him a little shout out because this is what keeps bread and butter on my table. It keeps me making videos, and an awesome little bonus for all the effort. So massive thanks to Artful Badger. Check out his website if you like his work and you want to put in an order. theartfulbadger.uk. So yeah guys, check that out. Cannot believe I got a present from YouTubers. Yeah, I have to say, you know, I read my comments and I get some absolutely awesome support, and can be having a rough day or a down day, and you just read through the comments, and honestly the boost and the lift of morale it gives me is just out of this world. And then to actually get a present on top of it, yeah, absolutely awesome. Cannot believe it. So yeah, it's only right to give this guy a little shout out. Check out his page, greatly appreciated. Thanks guys. This one's cut from aluminium and nicely polished up. Freaking awesome. D9 Caterpillar. It's huge, 46 inches. Cheers, Artful Badger. So the next person I'd like to thank is Nick, and I presume that's your mother, Joyce. And they have very kindly sent me all of Nick's father's books on metallurgy. Some fantastic books here. The manufacture of iron and steel, to fancy books with chemical analysis of metals and alloy. We have welding books and a few welding books and a few more scientific books on metal analysis. Nick's father worked in Springfield Nuclear Research in Lancashire. I think I read that right, near Blackport. And he was involved in very early nuclear research and development, highly secretive. And he's saying here that some of the methods have resulted in a health penalty for his father in later years, sadly. Says his dad was from a desperately poor background and had to even work a paper round to get the money to buy these books for night school. So it shows what an incredible man that Nick's father was, coming from a very poor background, that he pulled himself out of that by working a hard paper round in order to buy these books, to attend night school, and to ultimately end up working in very early nuclear development. So we'd just love to know what part these books and Nick's father may have contributed to nuclear development. I'm very humbled to be given these, and greatly appreciate it, and they'll be on my bookshelf along with my other books. I'll treasure that. Treasure the books and the little letter you sent explaining. The books are lovely. Can't thank you enough. Beautiful. So they will be treasured in my book collection. Thank you guys. Ordinary night. But yeah, before starting to cut, I want to check around for any flammable items, old paper, cardboard. These machines obviously crush cars, so there could be a lot of spilt fuel around it, oil. So I want to have a lot of fire extinguishers to hand, just in case things get out of hand, and disconnect the battery before welding, and should be ready to go. But yeah, before starting to cut, I want to check around for any flammable items, old paper, cardboard. These machines obviously crush cars, so there could be a lot of spilt fuel around it, oil. So I want to have a lot of fire extinguishers to hand, just in case things get out of hand, and disconnect the battery before welding, and should be ready to go. Cannot believe I got a present from YouTubers. Yeah, I have to say, you know, I read my comments and I get some absolutely awesome support, and can I have a up day or a down day, just read through the comments, and honestly the boost and the lift of morale it gives me is just out of this world. I need to actually get total structural failure. That's the hinge pivot there, and then there's another large pivot behind, which all of this was attached to, is now no longer attached to. So it's looking like I'm going to have to completely disassemble this in order to get to the hinge in below it, to re-weld it to that hinge, and then build it back up again. This outer is an outer skin and an inner skin triangulated for strength. So I'll probably, this outside one's bent, the inside one's bent, I'll probably cut the outside one off, put a nice new piece of plate on that. Don't know whether I'll be keeping that back plate. Actually will be keeping that back plate because that makes up this large hinge here. So we'll gouge that out for a full penetration weld, then put a massive plate over the inside, full length extending right to the end, and that'll tie the hinges back together again. The hardest part of this job often is coming up with a game plan, figuring out the forces, figuring out the best way to repair it. But that's the part I enjoy the most. Can take quite a while, because things always aren't as they first seem, and when you dig a bit deeper things can often get a lot worse. So we'll dig a bit deeper and see how it ends up. You heard that ping there, and while I was cutting it also pinged. That is the main thing that scares me in my job, is I don't know what the correct term for it would be, potential energy, stored energy, pressure vessels, springs, etc, etc. Anything that has a contained force scares the living life out of me, because with this stuff that force is always substantial, more than enough to kill you. Obviously this is twisted. What I've done, I have fully retracted it so that both rams are completely retracted and it's in its parked position. So what we don't want to do is repair this with this ram extended and this ram retracted, because then it's twisted to start with. So the first thing that happens when you retract it completely, it exerts load upon itself before it's even doing any work. So that's very important that both rams are fully retracted, and in the case of this being bent, means that there's now some stored energy in there. So I just need to be very careful as I cut it apart. Quite terrifying at times, but in this case it should be fine. I'll just go slowly, and I'll have a rough idea of the direction of those forces, obviously going by the ram. So yeah, we'll dig a bit deeper and have another look at it. So we've got a lot of plates stripped off, giving us a bit of a view internally, and it's still looking like a bit of a mess. I'm hoping I can leave this in here. So what I'm going to do now is start the machine, tip it up, and have a look at the hinge that's in here. If that hinge is completely detached, all of this is going to have to come out. We have to reattach this to the hinge and then cover it back over again. So we'll start her up, tilt her up, and have a look underneath. So that's the lid open. You can see the very large piano style hinge, and that's the very large hydraulic ram and the block that squashes the car down into this corner, which is completely enclosed by this lid, making a cube shape. So yeah, that retracts out of the way. You dump the cars or vans or whatever into here, and that ram extends So yeah, we're gonna have a look and see just how much world of shit we're in here. Yeah. Tie it into the rear, which could be awkward enough. Have a look. I might have to take that faceplate off, or it's completely damaged and bent. Take it, just cut it right out. Check the welds behind it. Weld it up again, but we'll investigate that later on. So yeah, that's the current state of affairs. You can see the size of this hinge. Hope it doesn't fall down on top of me, but hey, be the same chances of lightning striking me right now, I reckon, so I think I'll be alright. But anyway, cut this off, have a look, and hopefully not have to, as I said, remove all the plates on the inside, on the far side. So I've had a good look in from the top, and I was hoping I could cut this out and put it back, but of course all the welds are from the inside, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do that. I'll have to remove all of the plates on the top side, then cut this out and then weld it from the back, and then replace all the plates on the top side. So yeah, it's going to be a full mission. So good for you guys. You can sit back and embrace the struggle. So yeah, we'll come back after lunch and have another look at it. And that is why it pays to look at these things as closely as you possibly can. You have to observe how they work. You have to observe the loads and forces that's exerted upon the structure, and figure out how those loads are transferred. And I've just discovered that this massive hinge that I thought was a stationary hinge, part of the body, in fact is a pivoting hinge that this leg was connected to. So this entire left hand side was completely unsupported when it should have been connected to that boss. So that's why the huge hydraulic cylinder has broken it off. As you can see, those are the sort of forces you're working with there. So I'll have to strip this box right back, right out, lid off, plates out of the inside. Have a look here. That's what I mean about putting both rams to their limit before welding in place. So if I weld it in place there and it's all welded up and you try to retract the rams, all of that force is then going through the welded structure. So you need to make sure that it is fully limited into its position, retracted position, before welding it up. So yeah, we're going to have to take all of these plates out, that plate, uncover the hinge that's in behind, and then start to figure out how we're going to attach all of this to that hinge. and fix this backing plate. So yeah, she's a big job, boys and girls, she's a big job. But I love this sort of plate work, so we'll get all this mess cleaned up, cut out, and have another look before we start putting stuff in. It always pays to have a really good look and a really good think before you start. Just last thing you want to do is go to all that time and effort and repair it incorrectly. Yes, you might be the guy standing looking at the job, but you're the guy that's thinking about doing the job correctly. Still have to remove this plate here. You can see this is the broken area that I had to remove all of this in order to access that. And then I have to open this window in order to access the hinge bush behind it. I still have to gouge all of the remaining bits of these blocks out, this plate, and grind it all up. So very time consuming part of the job. You get all the big plates out very quickly, but the final bit of cleaning up, tidying up takes longer than whacking those plates off. So yeah, lots of scaling and chipping and wedging and cleaning. So yeah, we'll keep at it and take a look when it's all cleaned up. So here we are over on the other side, and I'm looking to see the construction, to see how the main pivot is attached, as both ends are identical, and we can see the main join, how it is connected to the large pivoting bush. I need to clean down the side just to see below how it is connected, but we can see it's connected there. So we'll go over to the other side and have a look there. Oh look, it's not connected at all. So I think we found the problem. So yeah, we're gonna have to remove this window to give us access to the large pivoting bush in order to weld all of this and anchor it onto that hinge point. Remove this because the plate down the back is all destroyed, so we'll have to fix the plate behind this. So yeah, it's all got to come out right down to the very bare bones. We ain't finished digging yet. Just doing a little trick here, using the clamping force of the machine itself in order to push the faceplate up against the hinge to weld it in the back side. So there's a bit of force, but I stopped before it got crazy. You could go crazy here and fold that bit of 50mm bar like it was made out of chocolate, but I just need enough to close the gap in order to get a weld. So we'll go and do that weld now, get the bar out and have a look at it. So now try and straighten this end out. It's bent down, it's bent up, it's flopping about all over the show there like a horse's dick. So I've got a couple of wedges in here. I'm baiting them into the sledge to try and pivot this corner over. Basically what we're looking for is the line of sight up the edge that is reasonably straight. So I think I've got it to where I want it to be. So this is the stage where I start looking at measuring plates to put back in and make it rigid again. So we'll go and get a pen and note paper and tape measure and start the boring bit. So here we are back at the baler. I've got this connector plate connecting the main hinge onto the ram brackets. Big solid wide weld. And we're going to put this plate in to bridge that. I've been putting a piece of round bar in the back to attach this to the hinge, obviously carrying the whole door on the hinge. And then I'm putting a plate right across that join. That'll bring it up to flush on the inside, and then I'll be putting a third plate across all of the joins, rendering that one massive super strong joint. So yeah, lots and lots of plate, not taking any chances in this, total overkill. No space restriction, just get it done. So yeah, we'll lash these in now. So that's the plate in the back, one joint, two joint. Another plate in the back, two more joints. Large bit of 70mm bar connecting to the main hinge. Two plates welded together, one out over the joint. Then I'll put a final plate right over the joint. So there'll be 3 plates thick in total. Basically just trying to brace all of the joints that have had to be put in. So that's the next stage. Stay tuned. So we're starting to look nice and beefy. Put this plate on, all plug welded, giving an extremely rigid floor, that will transfer the torque along the hinge. We have a massive joint onto the main hinge pivot directly in line with the ram. I'm going to put a plate in here to close this off, tie it into the hinge also. My main concern now is these side plates transfer all the load to the cross channel, but if you look at this mess in here, the side plate is not connected to the main box channel. So whenever I get the lid on, I need to absolutely ensure that this is massively connected to the lid. So that is going to be my main focus next, to get a very strong lid on and to get these very well connected to the lid. So both hinges fixed. Massive 2 bits of whether 15 or 20, but we have a solid 30 or 40 mil wall there now. I'm confident that will never break. I'm going to put another plate over the top, as I said, to brace that, so the joints, every joint there across both of those hinges are going to be super connected. And then the lid, as I said, I will continue it past this hinge, because I don't want too many strengthening plate terminations at the hinge. That's a recipe for a spot to break. So I'm going to stagger where the strengthening plates end to try and dissipate any stiff spots. So yeah, going well, pleased with the progress. Shit tons of plate still to go in, so yeah, let's get at it. Still some overhead welding to finish on the inside, fully boxed up. So that box means the plate in there means this will now be torsionally stable. So just finished a little bit of overhead welding in there, close this end window. Have a couple of massive plates to go on here just to bridge these joins. And then we've got some gouging and weld to do down the back here and on the other side, and that'll be it. So see ya. Just waiting on some of these plates being cut out for me by our plasma guy up in the top shop. So I measure them up, draw them out, he cuts them out for me, and I weld them on. That's great little system, saves me a bit of time messing about. I can be welding while he's cutting, job moves quicker. So I've got one of the last bits of plate to close it up. As you can see, need to put a little fold in it. It's a very simple cheating process. I'll just bend this welding rod as a template around the curve, and then we'll take the plate down the folder and match it to the rod. Just mark a few little fault lines across it with a square, and we'll bend it to match the welding rod. Should buy 270 ton folder, Scottish Machine Co. Absolute weapon. Very handy once I figured out how to work it. Nearly there. Sound insulation, a bastard. That was close. That's why you always drink lots of water, folks. Fucking hell. Fuck, that was a panic. Fucking gloves there. Fucking weld mask there. Oh, fuck's sake. Oh, getting too old for this shit. Well, that was an eventful job. All done, thank goodness. Quite a lot of stuff to pack away. Some return to store, etc. and noted down. And yeah, that's easily an hour fanning about, sorting stuff out. So yeah, a lot of stuff to do a job like that. And unfortunately I also have a casualty. Absolutely gutted, very annoyed at myself. I like to take care of my tools. This nice little 200 amp XP8 MIG torch. I was pulling it over the edge, obliterated. The power cable obliterated. The liner has survived, but that sheath you can see around the liner which carries the gas is obliterated, so that torch is scrap. So I'll strip it down and save the ends for spares for my other torches. But yeah, absolutely gutted about that. As I said, take pride in looking after my stuff and making it last a long time. This little torch now I'll have to supply others and keep them going as spares, so yeah. Just goes with the job, unfortunately. So yeah, anyway, that's the entire machine completely finished. Very enjoyable job, lots of plating. We have 2 bottles of Argus Shield Universal, or Heavy, sorry, consumed. We don't really have much oxyacetylene used. I used a lot of wire. Not all the rolls were full rolls of wire, but definitely 4 rolls of wire used anyway. At least 2 full rolls of flux core, possibly 3, and a couple of rolls of 1 or 1.2 mil solid wire. So yeah, a lot of plating and an absolute stack of grinding discs, as you can see. That's all the slag from the burning and cutting and gouging, and that's all the scrap plate that was cut out to do the job. So yeah, I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think it's super strong. It's got all of its torsional rigidity now, and that will transfer the load full length along that folding wing, and I'm confident that will never break again. Yeah, it might be a bit of overkill, but I like to do overkill and then have peace of mind that the job is done right. Try and keep my reputation intact. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, fire me a like, thumbs up. Keeps me motivated to keep making videos for you guys. Puts a little bread and butter on my table, and gives me something to do in these dark evenings. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, as I said, thumbs up, keeps my channel growing. Greatly appreciated. I have an Instagram page as well. I absolutely love my photographs. A lot of cool photographs of tractors, trucks, quads, engineering, welding, bit of nature as well. Absolutely everything under the sun. And very often you'll see jobs that I'm working at that I don't do videos of. So if you're into this engineering welding stuff, stacks of videos and photos going on to Instagram, cool little clips and things. So yeah, check out my Instagram, AlistairC123. I'll put a link in the description. So yeah guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned.